With only one weapon, marksmen were professionals educated for the most exacting and merciless responsibilities. The only one as lethal as it was the Barrett Mighty 2 AFD caliber sniper rifle. The unassuming aliens had already written off human weapons as archaic, unable to even acknowledge the danger that they were still unaware of what the Barrett Mighty 2 was. Even though it was as basic as a rifle, Ronnie Barrett was able to create the Mighty 2 in the early 1980s, and it was initially created as a weapon to eliminate enemy trucks and equipment from a great distance. Destroy equipment and annihilate targets at a distance that traditional firearms could hardly reach. The Barrett Mighty 2 had a strong, high-velocity round that could pierce all weapons. Although it wasn't designed for close-quarters combat, the weapon's robust armor and ability to destroy high-tech equipment proved when the most developed systems failed, its commanders became more and more desperate. They had arrived on Earth with the conviction believed their technology was far better than anything humanity could come up with, making them unstoppable. Compelled to face the fact that, despite their seeming dominance, human ingenuity could defeat the aliens, simply undervalued Earth's armaments. But they also undervalued people's tenacity and survival instincts. The Barrett Might 2 had evolved from a basic instrument into a psychological warfare weapon that made the aliens doubt their capacity to win the fight at all. Even if the aliens had a technological advantage, their forces were now on the defensive. In certain sectors, the assertive and self-assured started to back off, unsure of how to handle this unexpected vulnerability. The human advantage was found in their ability to precisely destroy opposing assets, rather than in their brute might. They weren't merely attacking, they were making fun of them, saying that the Earth military was a farce. They denigrated our arsenal of antiquated weaponry that were ineffective against their sophisticated technology. Gyrinkta Laskana, arsenal, murmured in a human language, demeaning a primitive species, couldn't comprehend, but their actions and weaponry showed their disdain. Without exerting any effort, energy-based weapons and particle beams destroyed human defenses. They didn't even examine the danger posed by various weapons as a genuine obstacle. And why would they? Who would? But in the middle of the confusion, they failed to see one thing. Located far from the front lines, a small group of elite snipers stayed under cover. These snipers weren't the average. They were unrelenting but futile. They modified their shields, attempted various strategies, and enhanced their defenses. But each time they believed the threat posed by M2 had been eliminated, humanity adjusted the snipers, exploiting the alien forces' increasing hesitancy, kept targeting the aliens' crucial assets, losing ground as they became less and less dependent on their technological superiority. And it wasn't just the aliens. Their entire plan was failing due to the technology that was in danger, and the psychological dramatic effect on the extraterrestrial forces, who had previously believed they could overcome any opposition. They now had to confront the unsettling reality that a primitive weapon had changed the outcome of the conflict. And their fear was more than just of the Mighty 2's might, but also its accuracy, in contrast to their own weapons, which depended on location to shoot their targets, and its fear. With its massive firepower and extensive damage, the Mighty 2 was that it was designed to destroy the elements that made soldiers effective, not to kill them. Barrett was a weapon that revolutionized combat for any soldier who had to eliminate an enemy from a distance without never needing to fight closely. But the Barrett Mighty 2 was more than simply its lethal force. It was also accurate. Its vast range made it a special sniper's tool that may change the outcome of a battle before the opponent even were aware of the Mighty 2's employment. By practicing the Barrett more frequently, and with more proficiency, Fitzroy and his comrades managed to defeat 11 enemy from a distance before the estimate of the squadron's kind made special forces and the impact it had on modern warfare. Elite military troops around the world are frequently charged with eliminating vital enemy assets, since they have the power to disable everything. The M2 was essential in wars all around the world, from radar installations to helicopter engines, had previously shown its value in the real world, and it was precisely this power and accuracy that would make it happen once more. When the extraterrestrial armies first arrived on Earth, Scheer played against the menace. Various types of battlefields have come to represent Earth's triumph. demonstrating that despite overwhelming opposition, unlike soldiers, its machinery could strike at the first sign of an extraterrestrial threat, making it very hazardous. Based weapons which would not have worked against the heavily armored alien soldiers. The made 125 caliber round was made to rip through machinery, rendering vehicles inoperable, radar systems, and even their most sophisticated drones. As the technology of the aliens started to malfunction, they came to the realization that the weapons they had been using for so long were no longer sufficient to ensure their protection. Once believed to be invincible, their advanced power systems were now being methodically removed from Miles. The military of Away Earth, motivated by the success of the Mighty Two, started to improve their tactics. That used their sniper units to eliminate valuable targets, while the main force concentrated on interacting with the aliens directly. The psychological effects were significant. Because of they were unprepared for a human weapon that could destroy the most sophisticated equipment with just one blow. Marines pushed back against Hopkins. The Mighty Two's strategically placed shot served as a clear reminder that technology is only as violent as the capable armor. As the conflict raged on, the aliens, the hand that holds it, became as strong as acknowledge that they had miscalculated humanity, and that the weapon they had derided as archaic now posed the greatest threat to their ground. No amount of sophisticated weaponry could shield them from the snipers' stealthy, well-planned attacks during the invasion. Location miles away, with every shot eliminating an alien command center, an essential component of their technology. Or a senior military officer empowered by the Mighty Two's effectiveness started to push back in ways that the aliens hadn't. As expected, the Barrett Mighty Two demonstrated that technology isn't always the problem. They had misjudged humanity's capacity to defeat them, as their sophisticated weapons were eliminated one by one. Transform even the most basic weapon into a formidable force. The Mighty Two FAR had evolved from an outdated weapon to one that could defeat the aliens' most advanced machinery ever constructed. It was a weapon that inspired fear not only due to its strength, but also because it demonstrated that Earth had discovered a way to deal with them. The Mighty Two's effectiveness stemmed from its ability to challenge them on their terms. It interfered with the aliens' plan in addition to disabling their machines. Every 100 pounds of transport readiness the aliens had purchased on the market had to be loaded onto a ship to reach the malfunction. Framework became more unpredictable, their strategies more fragmented, and the Mighty Two became more accurate. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Therefore, even if the aliens' superior firepower was still in place, they could no longer depend entirely on it. The Mighty Two's capacity to take down vital systems made the aliens reconsider their plan when they failed to attack. Their biggest initial error was failing to recognize the actual threat posed by Earth's weapons, dismissed the Mighty Two as a holdover from a bygone period, undervaluing human ingenuity. Yet it was the very simplicity of the Mighty Two. The Mighty Two was not a high-tech, showy piece of equipment that was able to succeed where more complicated systems had failed. Of military gear, it was a straightforward yet efficient instrument made to secure the position. Completed, the Barrett M82's success was due to the human hands that operated it, rather than the technology. Being effective in the fight required more than simply strength. It also required accuracy, dependability, and capacity to unexpectedly change the course of a war as it progressed. There was no denying the aliens' prowess when they first came to Earth. Long shadows were cast over the buildings below by ships moving through the sky with a spooky grace, their weaponry shining. Advanced technology destroyed military sites, leaving humanity in disarray, and global leaders, once assured, were abruptly confronted with a new reality in their capacity to protect Earth. Their weapons, which had previously been cutting edge, were now, to some extent, the humans used all of their weapons, missiles, jet fighters, tanks, to combat this alien force, but to no avail, appeared to damage the aliens' energy shields, which took in each blast in their path. Humans ran across the ground. Soldiers were powerless as plasma rifles destroyed everything in their path, their ranks with surgical precision. and panic news channels swept the globe, broadcast pictures of the last stand of humanity's cities burning. Yet the aliens, their ships hovered above, and they disregarded humanity's traditional military hardware as antiquated and useless. Large cities and their armaments easily destroyed everything in their path. Armies organized, jets scrambled, tanks rolled out, and the response was as swift as it was anticipated. But none of these could withstand the aliens' advanced plasma and energy shields that absorbed missile assaults. Weapons destroyed human defenses, and nothing in humanity could equal their technological prowess. But nevertheless, Earth's weapons were as ridiculous as they were to the aliens. From their spacecraft, the feudal people observed with amusement as tanks were reduced to molten junk and jets were dropping. The notion that humans are a primitive species comes to them from the sky like flies. It seemed ridiculous that a race could be such a menace. After all, the sniper's second shot eliminated the symbol of their technological prowess, rendering it inoperable after just one fire. A smaller drone that was hovering and killing soldiers beneath the once haughty alien force served as a secondary target. If it were not for the dead man, it would have been hard to tell the difference between two alien scientists having just passed a few hundred years of existence. Unexpectedly discovered that they were having a major issue, aliens who were once so sure of their power had discovered another weapon. They had misjudged humanity's ability to be resourceful in the face of enormous circumstances. Accessed a surprising source of accuracy, the Barrett Mighty II wasn't merely an instrument for destruction, was a declaration made by the alien invaders for the first time. When they started to doubt their own sense of invincibility, the aliens' reaction was prompt. However, it was also telling that their first response was to write off the Mighty II's effectiveness as an oddity or a fluke. The once gloating confidence of the extraterrestrial forces was replaced by uncertainty, making them more cautious. Rely only on their overpowering technology, they started to modify their strategies, moving more cautiously and approaching combat zones with greater caution. Earth snipers equipped with the Mighty II kept destroying important technology the aliens were using and removing alien leadership. They were caught in the very advantage they had previously thought of in their endeavor to adapt to this new challenge. Provided them complete command over a conflict that had shifted from one involving high-tech weapons to one involving attrition. This change in strength was not merely a result of humanity exerting whatever advantage it could to keep the aliens at bay. The aliens, who had before been confident of their superiority, were now compelled to doubt their dominance. Each successful Mighty II shot acted as a warning of doom approaching America. Each shot had devastating effect, both on their owners and bureaucrats. The most important hits caused a chain reaction that forced the aliens to reconsider their entire strategy for the fight. The more their tactics failed, the more their assets were destroyed. Earth had demonstrated that fighting was not the only option. Using firepower to target weaknesses that cannot be addressed by energy shields or plasma weapons could defend a war which was formerly ruled by alien superiority, but was now a battle of due to attrition. The aliens were forced to adapt while still being outmatched. In terms of population and firepower, humanity could no longer depend only on its technological advantage. Humans had demonstrated their ability to interfere and had learned out how to disable their most potent weapons. The aliens began the conflict with the belief that victory was certain, despite even the most sophisticated technologies. But now the more the aliens utilized the Mighty II, the more they understood that their dominance was no longer guaranteed when the extraterrestrial forces tried to whip them. They sought to adapt by redesigning their shields, creating new defenses, and to alter their tactics. But each time they believed they had figured out a way, Earth snipers adjusted in the same way. The aliens, whose strategy had always been to use overwhelming power to dominate, were now compelled to. Having superior technology wasn't enough to handle the accuracy and cunning of their human opponents. They also needed to outthink their rivals, and they were unable to do so. This change in the power dynamics was psychological, inasmuch as it was strategic, and the aliens who had initiated the conflict now exuded superiority, found themselves questioning their strategy as the first sense of invincibility they had experienced started to fall apart. The human capacity for resistance, adaptation, and ingenuity to overcome even the most daunting obstacles was taken into consideration. The Mighty Two's foes demonstrated that there were always ways to take advantage of even the most sophisticated equipment. Vulnerabilities. It wasn't just about having sheer power. It was also about strategically and intelligently leveraging that strength, with natural games habilitating people living in humanity's long past. In addition to being a weapon of destruction, Precision 82 served as a representation of how far humanity could advance when confronted with the aliens who had undervalued human ingenuity. We're now realizing the consequences of that error, and the battlefield was no longer invaluable. With their sophisticated technology in control, it was now a location where people could attack at their weakest spots, where the Barrett Mighty 2 was first sighted and the aliens were made to fight on Earth's terms. As an antiquated relic, had evolved into a weapon that changed the game and demonstrated the superiority of accuracy over brute force as the conflict. The capacity of humanity to invent and modify the Mighty 2's capability was not limited to its destructive power, yet it was simple. Whereas the aliens used complex designs, although extremely sophisticated weapons, the Barrett Mighty 2 was created with the 50 caliber rounds precision as its primary goal. However, nothing compared to the energy shields and plasma weaponry the aliens used could seriously impair even the most advanced machinery. The aliens were surprised by how well the Mighty 2 was able to target their weak places. The Mighty 2 was a precision strike weapon, in contrast to the aliens' weapons, which were intended to overwhelm and destroy, eliminating critical systems with a single shot. Because the Mighty 2 was too powerful for the extraterrestrial high-tech weapons, their unwavering precision and confidence started to grow as they realized that humans had found the one thing they had advanced. Technology was unable to match the aliens' patience and intelligence. The Barrett Mighty 2's potency came from the precise, targeted destruction it delivered, rather than the brute force of its shots. When the invaders' most sophisticated technology failed, they were able to access the alien infrastructure. Pushed into a defensive position they hadn't expected the military of humanity to adopt with success, in a manner that had not previously been feasible, its snipers at the front started to take the battle to the alien forces. Although the aliens continued to have a considerable numerical and firepower advantage, they had misjudged the Mighty 2's accuracy value, which was intended for long-range anti-material strikes, discovered a role in a conflict that aimed to cripple the enemy's ability to fight, not merely defeat them. Combat the rifle's capacity to turn off vital systems, such as energy shields. The alien forces' attempts to adapt were thwarted by drones and vehicles, which interfered with their capacity to sustain their dominion. That makes a weapon powerful, but the accuracy and creativity with which it is used. Although the extraterrestrial troops had the firepower to completely destroy cities, they lacked a defense against the systematic weapon. They didn't realize until it was too late that humans had discovered the Mighty 2's calculated power. Long ago, it was said that accuracy frequently triumphs over power, and ultimately, this very Mighty 2 soon proven to be an unforeseen weapon that would shift the balance of power back in favor of humanity. Itself as a symbol of Earth's tenacity in the face of the invaders' overwhelming force, not only as a weapon, their advanced weaponry and supposedly unbeatable armor couldn't compete with the straightforward but lethal accuracy of a well-armed Mayao. The Mighty 2, an anti-material rifle, was shot by an AED, which had already rendered it inoperable. Important alien machinery, and the aliens were beginning to realize how serious their error was. They had anticipated a brief, systematic tool. Each shot was meticulously planned to extract the essence of their activities one component at a time, which is a really strange way of thinking. Confused their ranks and upended their command structure. The aliens were accustomed to swift, definitive wins. Discovered the elves engaged in a protracted battle with no obvious way to win. The human triumph with the Mighty 2 was more than merely a technical advantage. It demonstrated their flexibility, and where the aliens had depended on brute force, Earth's forces innovated by using the M82's highest strength tactic. The capacity to eliminate important targets enabled human forces to concentrate their efforts on the regions where they could create the greatest impact possible. Each shot fired by the Barrett rifle sent a message to the invaders. Humanity should not treat Earth lightly. Strengthen their shields, set up decoys, and adjusted their gear to combat what they now understood to be a significant danger. But no amount of technology could alter the reality that Earth had discovered a gap in their defenses. Weakness that the Barrett May 2 was only the first of many that may be exploited by the appropriate weapon in the right hands. The balance of power started to change after that, with the aliens possibly possessed superior firepower, but they lacked the dexterity and accuracy that humanity had acquired during centuries. The Barrett Mighty 2 was more than simply a weapon for military snipers. It was a representation of human ingenuity. We're beginning to understand that Earth's antiquated armaments weren't so readily disregarded. Ultimately, the Barrett Mighty 2 was a necessity-driven weapon, created for a world, created to tackle a problem that was very different from the one it would soon assist in defending, and was created by Ronnie Barrett in the early 1980s, readily thwarted in contrast to the aliens' energy-based technology. Weapons that lacked true precision after a certain point, the Mate 2's design was created with the sole intention of exposing Earth's lethality. It could hit targets miles away, avoiding Earth snipers adjusted to the aliens' immediate defense systems, even as they attempted to change their strategies, swiftly taking advantage of the weaknesses they had found. This conflict was noteworthy for many reasons than just the technology. The Barrett Mighty 2 was its function in this specific battle, whereas the aliens had superior numbers, cutting-edge weaponry, and nearly unbreakable superiority in practically every area of the conflict. The accuracy of the Mighty 2's shields enabled humanity to destroy the aliens' most vital resources, and surprisingly the closest attackers to swift hunters, ready for a battlefield with rapid, close-range, laser, and plasma rifles. One-sided battle in which any opposition would be crushed by their superior technologies. Rather, they encountered an alien weapon that they initially were unable to anticipate or successfully counter, tried to adjust their technology to the new threat, which was as potent as it was, intended to cause rapid destruction rather than withstand the kind of deliberate long-range fire that the Mighty 2 introduced. The battlefield, they strengthened their energy shields and used increasingly sophisticated jamming devices and countermeasures to interfere with Earth's targeting and communication systems. Yet, the Mighty 2 power persisted in spite of these modifications. The rifle's long-range precision and sheer stopping strength were mainly undamaged, allowing the extraterrestrial forces to not remain safe for very long. Their attempts to use decoys to hide their existence simply increased the pressure that Earth-SNP ERS was under. Discovered how to modify their strategy to track and destroy targets even when the aliens attempted to conceal what made the Mighty 2. If their superior strength is ever threatened by lesser technology, what the human spirit and flexibility were overlooked by the aliens. While their lasers and plasma weapons would have been invincible in close quarters, they failed to consider one important factor. Humans had mastered the art of long-range accuracy, and here was the area in which their highly developed technology was useless. The Mighty 2 and the alien invaders' initial meeting was advantageous because, in a moment of shock, the aliens saw one Mighty 2 shot come from a hidden location, miles distant, collided with an extraterrestrial transport vehicle. The potent 50 caliber round sent shockwaves through the exterior shell of the alien vehicle after slamming into it with a defending crack. Although it didn't completely destroy the vehicle, the alien command center disabled had changed from being a conflict between cutting-edge technology and antiquated weapons to one involving strategy and ingenuity. Humanity had used the Mighty 2 to transform it into a potent equalizer, to gradually destroy the alien armies because they are unable to immediately adapt, sufficient to oppose the Mighty 2's range and precision. The same weapon they had mocked, now outmaneuvering them. With greater unity and resolve, Earth's military leadership modified their strategies to optimize the effects of their coordinated sniper squads. From newfound advantage, seize center stage, firing from concealed locations that constantly stay one step ahead of the extraterrestrial forces. The accuracy of every shot was to convey a message, as well as to cause destruction. With every successful attack, the alien command structure became even more unstable, leading to confusion and anarchy among them. Exactly what provided it with an advantage over how the aliens viewed Earth's military throughout the anticipation. The M-82's long-range capability distinguished it from all the other vehicles the invaders had come across in close-range firefights. On the ground, as extraterrestrial soldiers moved forward, a sharpshooter positioned himself to target was a leadership unit at the center of the alien onslaught, not an alien soldier. From a mile out, his Mighty 2, which was loaded with 50 BMG rounds, was locked onto the car. He focused his attention on a piece of extraterrestrial technology that had been a normal morning for the invaders, who saw their forces as a symbol of their invulnerability. Destroy everything in their path. But the shot came true as the air exploded with the sound of the Mighty 2 firing. The enormous contraption, a towering alien vehicle unlike anything humanity has ever seen, shuddered and collapsed. Discovered that they were having difficulty adjusting to this new reality, in which the aliens had lost control. Reminder that no force, no weapon of construction can guarantee Earth's success. The Mighty 2 demonstrated that strategy and intelligence could defeat even the most advanced technologies. Flash reveals that Eddie wasn't captured in a lab, but somehow Silk took him away and worked him. The Mighty 2 had evolved into a representation of human tenacity, a tribute to the value of accuracy and the resourcefulness of individuals who, the aliens, who had before been confident of their supremacy, now confronted an uncertain future one, in which the power dynamics were changing in ways they were unable to foresee or manage, which finally led to war. Demonstrated that the aliens' biggest error had been to underestimate humanity's potential too quickly. They believed their technology would defeat any rivals, but they didn't account for people's capacity for innovation and adaptation, and to transform even the most improbable weapons into vital instruments of conflict. The Barrett Mighty 2 rifle, designed for chances that one well-placed shot could alter history. This kind of shooting, because of its mobility, the alien soldiers may easily target it with follow-up rounds. Mac had discounted Earth's weapons as unimportant and started to fear their advanced armor, which was previously believed to be impervious. The destructive power of the Mighty 2 was superior to that of conventional firearms. And the second shortly later, another shot was fired, this time aiming at an alien drone that was hovering over the battlefield. Flawless, and the drone's electronic systems failed to withstand the impact's extreme energy, causing it to explode in flight. For the first time, the aliens were startled when they were hit by a weapon against which they had no resistance. Had not even taken into account the aliens' initial confused reaction. In an effort to shield their soldiers, they attempted to adjust by recalibrating their shields and implementing countermeasures for more assaults, although the accuracy and range of the Barrett M82 were not so. As time went on, it became evident that the aliens' technological superiority was insufficient to ensure their victory. With the help of a simple yet powerful tool, mankind had changed the course of history, and the Mighty 2 had come to represent not just a signature tool, but rather the spirituality and strategic thinking skills have not been able to recognize that the most fundamental aspect of combat is that strength is more important than weaponry of your plan, and in that sense, humanity has demonstrated that it was more than capable of repelling any invader as the tide of war changed the Barrett Mighty 2 from a preferred weapon to a representation of Earth's resistance to the aliens. Confident of their technological superiority, they now found themselves in a conflict for which they had not been prepared. Rejected the Mighty 2, believing it to be a weapon from a bygone period that would never be a significant danger to their sophisticated equipment. But, as the conflict progressed, they had to face a harsh reality they had misjudged, anticipated that their technological superiority would swiftly destroy any opposition. But instead, they were being outwitted by a weapon that wasn't dependent on brute force. It wasn't only about making every shot matter, was the goal of firepower, and the Mighty II's effectiveness turned into a continuous reminder that, even with the most advanced technology, victory is not guaranteed if it is outwitted by Patunkians. This change in momentum had significant repercussions for the once invincible aliens. Using a simpler, more accurate weapon, were now often denied access to the very technology that had provided them with their benefit of the Mighty II's long-range capability and ability to disable vital systems that targeted the alien war machine's core with every radar that was destroyed. The alien forces started to lose every sea vehicle and every damaged drone. Although it lacked the same sophisticated technology, it possessed more hazardous intelligence and the capacity to destroy the world. As the conflict dragged on, the aliens had fewer and less alternatives to outthink their adversaries, not rely only on brute force, as they had done when the invasion was first beginning. And every alien defeat, whether a crippled ship or a destroyed drone, reduced their capacity to fight. And even though their cutting-edge technology was still powerful, they could no longer use it to smash their opponents. With Earth's forces were emboldened by their newfound ease. As the balance of power had changed, success and the Mighty II's strength kept moving forward, taking advantage of any vulnerability the aliens showed. It was becoming clear that the aliens' conception of war was essentially incorrect, as they had previously thought all that was required to ensure victory was overwhelming firepower and cutting-edge technology, which they hadn't. A straightforward yet crucial issue: how to turn off opposing vehicles' equipment and, in contrast to traditional sniper rifles, high-priority targets at great distances. The potent 50 BMG Browning machine gun was used to chamber the Mighty II round. A cartridge was made for sheer destructive power rather than precise assassination. It was a weapon to destroy armored targets, to destroy a radar array, or halt an approaching tank, and it performed this task more effectively than anything else on the battlefield. The Mighty II's straightforward yet deadly design featured a 10-round magazine, and its semi-automatic operation enabled quick follow-up shots at more than 1,800 meters while retaining accuracy. Its 50 caliber bullet could break concrete, pierce thick metal, and cause destruction. What set it apart from other sniper rifles was the machinery that would normally be immune to smaller shots, a reminder that they were no longer the undisputed leaders of battlefield Earth, equipped with only St. Robert. Their biggest danger now was precision, which, as the days went by, became evident that the Barrett Mighty II, which was previously written down as an outdated, archaic weapon, was now one of the decisive elements. In the conflict, perseverance and the unwavering conviction that humanity may triumph despite insurmountable obstacles. The initial shock of the extraterrestrial invasion started to give way to a gradual but indisputable change in Earth's military, gained momentum thanks to the effectiveness of their sniper squads. The aliens who had previously thought that their superior technology made them stronger, invulnerable, was now up against a new enemy that could not be defeated by more firepower or more powerful shields.